Very often you can find a YouTube video that'll say something like, this video will change your life. And you might watch it and get some good content and feel good. And then you go, yeah, it's good, but it didn't change my life. I want to share with you a video that happened about a week ago that not only changed the person's life who did the one-on-one with me, but my life has dramatically shifted too. I've been implementing the things that I learned from this one-on-one that I ended up offering to someone on our Absolutely Everything pass. We do a thing called hot seat where people can sit in the hot seat and do a one-on-one with me. And they're all so awesome. But this one was so insane that I had to share it with you. This is on our Absolutely Everything pass. And if you want to join us and be in the hot seat yourself, it's $39 a month. Join us and have a transformation that you can't come back from. But until then, enjoy this video with Michele, who you will watch transform in 1 hour in a way that I've never seen. Watch for yourself. Enjoy. Michele's question is this. Hi, Kyle. I would appreciate any direction you could offer. I feel completely stuck and don't know what to do. That's because you're trying to do something. I seem to do everything wrong. That's correct because our doer isn't doing things right. That's actually accurate. I don't think the right thoughts or feel the right feelings to get into the vortex of law of attraction. I have no highest callings or next move. Well, that's because the ego is running the whole show. I quit my job and don't know if I was following my highest or just sabotaging myself. I don't know if I'm just being or just too depressed to do anything. Well, why don't we kill this pattern that's too depressed? Because you're not depressed. I try all the things but seem to get nowhere because you have a result that you're trying to get to. Yet I'm not supposed to shame myself. You're allowed to shame yourself or feel guilt about my lack or change. You're absolutely needing to feel guilt. I'm just correcting every sentence. It's been years. Shame, I know. That's past, doesn't matter. Of feeling absolutely no excitement about anything. Well, I can see why we're grabbing onto the past so much. I'm stagnant. No, you're not. You're now. I don't know what to do. That's because you're trying to doing. Maybe you can help. Yes, I can. As you can tell, Michele, you are welcome to join us on the Absolutely Everything Pass Saturday Night Hot Seat. Welcome to Hot Seat. I'm so happy to meet you, and I'm so excited to be here for what's here. I think there's going to be a lot of fall. I can actually feel there's a lot of fall apart if you're open and ready for it.
Yeah, definitely. I don't even I don't know where to start.
Tell me
There's just
what's
always a tightness in my chest and there's always a I just don't feel good ever.
Before we go to it, tell me what you're feeling right now, because I want you to see the difference between what you're feeling right now and there's always. One, there's always leaves right now, right? So here's feelings coming up, and I think it's actually an intuitive habit for you to kind of either broaden it or kind of leave it right when it's on the verge of coming up, right? Like, in other words, it's coming up and there might be a shame sentence that comes in, like, I always have this, or when is this, and it's a way to leave what's coming up. So before we even go to always, which I'm not dismissing, I actually see something right here, right now. And I would love to hear from you what you're feeling this second. Like, what was that?
Physically or
Yeah, what are you,
emotionally.
or like, what are you feeling emotionally?
A
And if
lot
the,
of sadness.
okay, tell me, tell me about the sadness that's here right now.
It's just here. Just a lot of sadness is here.
Yeah.
And it's
What,
tightness and shaky hands and a little fear um, and resistance.
what's it say? What's it say? Not what do we think about it, but what's it say?
Um, it says, you're never going to get past this.
That is a solution to a feeling,
Okay.
believe it or not. Like, it might say, I feel alone, unwanted, invisible, lost, uh, unloved, right? So I want you to picture you're actually 3 steps away from it. I guess it'd be 2 steps, but one is what you do about it, and then shame on the doer, right? So there's a
Mhm.
feeling, we don't know what it is. And then but you have a doing that's your solution to what the feeling is, right? But we don't even know what the feeling is. So the pattern you have right now, that this is already something big. When you start to feel the edge of something, your doer kicks in to stop feeling. It'd be like every time you're about to pee, right before the pee comes out, you're like, what's the solution to this? You pull back, the pee can't come out. You're like, what if I start a career? What if I move? What if I say no, what's my highest? All the highest that are coming in are solutions to the edge of a feeling versus your actual highest, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Hmm.
So you not only have a solution, but you have the shame on you'll never get it. So we're so many layers away from the feeling that what's happening is the feeling can't come up, right? So what we're mistaking is what it feels for 2 layers away from what it feels. So when I said, what's it feel? Or what's it say? You said it says, I'll never get there. Just so you know, no feeling talks in time. In fact, that's the thing we can remember. Feelings don't talk in time, meaning like you'll never get there. It's always like this. That's the shamer. And you're identified with the shamer versus the now, and the now holds space for the feelings. So, what does it say? If we take you'll never get there away, and we take what you'll never get there about, meaning like that you have to get there, and we take that away, there's just exposed feelings right now. What do the feelings now say? I'm not wanted. I'm
I'm,
bad.
s-
Yeah.
I'm so alone.
I'm so alone. Deep breath in. Yes. Yes. Don't let any doer kick in. Let that just be heard. Let this like real surrender happen where it's you and God and actual help. There was a you that has been avoiding this, and that you is false. Let yourself feel that. Deep breath in. This is a big one already. That is a lot of charge that already just left. I'm so alone needs to be heard. This doer is in its last stages. That doesn't do from expansion. It
I'm
does.
already fighting, but you're not alone. But that, I can feel.
Yeah. Yeah. So there is a character that I want you to know you've developed very well that's not you. But just because you've identified with it most of your life and have developed it very strongly, that's still not you. So the fighter is kicking in because it is scared of you releasing these feelings because this is actual expansion and death to the false you. Yeah. Look at that. Deep breath in. This is just charge leaving, false charge, trauma leaving. I'm right here with you. I'm honored to be with you today. Yeah, deep breath in. Maybe do a little tapping. This could use a little presence, a little bit of tapping, right? You're just reminding. What I love about tapping is it's reminding yourself you're here because you're feeling what's here right now. You never tap like I'm going to tap later, right? I can't wait to be the ultimate tapper. It's just now, right? Let yourself feel right here. Another deep breath in. This is deep trauma. There's some big stuff here, but it's not bigger than you. So we're opening our heart. In fact, would you ask God for help? Ask the universe to help. Say, please help me with this.
Please help me with this.
Now, open your heart big. Let it come in. It's going to take more out. And it's also going to be here with you. It's a big amount. So we're going to let one drop at a time come out, whatever comes out. It's not bigger than you.
What is it?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. I've never peed and said, is this coffee? Let it come out. Ready to come out. Isn't that weird? Everyone watching, take in. She doesn't need to know what it's from. It's ready to come out. Look at how much disqualifying stuff we bring in right away, right? How much we bring in. What is it? Where is it coming? I need to find it's ready to go. Maybe we need to do that if it's not there yet. But right now it's ready. It's just going, here's what's here. A lot of charge, a lot of trauma that's ready to go. It's not even just, oh, you have deep trauma. You have trauma ready to go, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So one question I would love to minimize for you in the future is what do I do? I'm not saying we won't still get answers to things like that, but I would love for you to shift it to something more like either what am I or what's here, right? Think of how much it doesn't make sense for the universe to work in time because timelines change. So the now and God and universe doesn't work in time. So the second we're like, how do I get over this? Or how long is this going to take? We're leaving God and we're moving to an ego construct that moves in time. But your frequency is too high for that. You're way too disconnected from time. You're really actually, what's really great is part of the reason there's so much suffering is you're grabbing onto timelines when you're on a frequency that's way higher than them. In other words, unconsciously, you're at a frequency that's way higher than time, right? So you've gone up. In other words, 20 years ago, you might not have felt the pain at this level because it might be buried and you're in a time thing and you're like, what do I do? And life hasn't brought an awareness that those doers yet need to go. It's just like, fine, you get to experience having the illusion of control and choices and all these different things, right? So when you instead like let go of that and you instead go now, I'm now, right? That's all I am. And you stop choosing what do I do, all of a sudden, what was buried under your doer comes to light, right?
Hmm.
So I'm going to change what do I do to what's here.
I'm trying to stop saying I've done that before. That's all
Yeah.
I've done.
Well, I've meditated before. Should I stop? Should I meditate once and that's it? I also worked out yesterday too, so I guess that's done.
I know that's difficult because I like how long do I go and not see results and then quit? Like
Well,
if I tried
one of
to,
the so you're still wanting to live at a results level versus oneness. You're still wanting to live at the answer is at result. In life is like you're way past that, right? Life is like, unfortunately for you, it's asking you to like, in other words, you also have asked, what do I do many times, but you keep asking.
yes, yes, yes.
Right? So you asked what's here as an exercise maybe and done it a few times. And then went, okay, now do I get results? Because you're still about the 3D world. You're about,
Hmm.
I am what I do and I am the results I get. And if I do not see results, then I don't matter. And that thinking is what's making you feel alone. It's the thinking you're in that makes you feel alone, much more than your circumstances.
Definitely.
Right? So the pattern of thinking you have is what's making you feel alone because every time the pattern comes up and says, I feel alone, you ignore it and go, what do I do? Now, if Vivi said to me, I feel alone, and I said, well, we need to start a business, she'd feel more alone because it's not about you. It's about what you do, and we don't care about your feelings. And that is the illusion of the world, is like your feelings are second to your accomplishments. And that is why you have a depressed society, is because people have normalized burying their feelings for accomplishments. And most of the accomplishments they make is to keep their feeling down. In other words, right at the edge of feeling off, I'm going to build a business instead of crying it out and then seeing what God wants to do. Right. So instead of thinking I've done that before, I would like that to be where you live. I would like you to practice what's here as a default setting.
I want to ask, how do I do that?
Okay. Well, try just say what's here.
What's here?
What's here? I want you to notice that question, how different it is. And notice you have to feel with that question. And feeling is good. I get that you've developed a pattern, and I already know something about your childhood with how much feeling's not allowed. Or that feeling for you is something you do just enough to get something or do something, but not because the ultimate to the pattern in your body is an accomplishment versus soul freedom.
I think that's why I don't ever feel any extreme. Like if I go to a concert of an artist I love, I'm like, ah, that's okay. When I watch my kids, ah, that's okay. Like it's just very, I don't know. That's why I get so frustrated that I can't just feel like joy or, you know,
Yeah.
and nothing excites me.
Well, right now, it's interesting because tomorrow's call on the oneness call is how to move from loving to becoming love, right? You're trying to find joy. Well, right now it goes, there's a ton of crap in here that needs to go. So you're looking for a phony, like high that
Mhm.
buries what wants to come out. Now, let's say you want a gorgeous house, but your house is absolutely full to the brim of clutter. I want you to really picture, like you want a new couch, you want a house that's beautiful, you want new countertops and plates or whatever. But I want you to picture every inch of the house is full of old shit. Now, should we go to living spaces right now and bring in more furniture?
No, you got to clear out the old shit.
You have to clear out. So what, and we as a collective are in a much more clearing out stage than make more things happen. And a reason people aren't finding joy in their highest excitement is their ego is creating the highest excitement while ignoring that there is every inch of the house is cluttered. So one of the things it needs to do is clear out a false highest excitement that's sitting on top of a load of lies. So instead of just ignoring there's pain here and trying to seek, we could go to the furniture store right now and try and shove more in here. But I bet no matter how gorgeous what the pieces are that you pick out, it won't look good. So God is so cool that God goes, yeah, just so you guys know, life isn't only achieved like in the 80s when it was an entrepreneurial boom. Life is also remove the lies. And what the public doesn't know is, especially in America, is America has trained itself that all we are doers and achievers. And now we're sitting on a giant house of old clutter and beliefs and lies. And we're in a letting go time trying to ignore that. And so everyone is suffering right now, or many people are, because they're not about letting go. They're about filling up more when you're filled up with BS inside.
And I think I can see, I almost try to find the pattern that is stopping me. For example, like I'm not okay with, because I quit my job and I'm not okay with just being at home because there's worth in there or something from working. So then I try to take the time to find that, like, what is that from my past to release it so that I can be okay with not
Well,
bringing in an income or
I would
be
love
okay
to,
with,
I would love to break apart some stuff if you don't mind. You
sure.
think there's more worth at work than at home?
I think I don't believe that, but I think like I know that that's not true, but then why am I so not okay with not having a job?
Well,
We're
let's break that
okay, like
down.
my husband is okay, we're okay, but there's just, and then I always like, well, then I better make sure the house is clean enough because I am justifying not working. Like there's all that in there.
Yeah. So you know for sure, you just said, I know that's not true, that worth isn't more, right? But it's very
Hmm.
obvious the pattern does,
Definitely.
right? So
But
don't
I
you
don't know
think
where it comes from or how to, yeah,
we don't need
that
to?
doesn't matter.
Do
Okay.
you understand that the pattern is lying?
Yes.
Okay. So why would we honor it? That would create a lot of suffering is if you follow a pattern's lie. that
Mm.
that it is such a, it's so funny how much we've conditioned ourselves, first of all, to make women feel terrible. I just want to point out that the illusion that your value is only in your work and not being a present mother, not being a space holder, not being Like feminine energy is worth so much more than all the money in the world. True space holding being is very, very, very valuable. If you want to have a job, that's great. I absolutely support it, but I'm so tired of this knocking of that there's not value in your presence. People that watch the calls know I am way better with just Amber sitting near me. Like, like it's already making us more valuable and the content better because there's a present heart that is supplying me with reason and purpose and drive and power, right? But if she was also evenly, there's no value in being a space with me, there's no value in that, she's just got to do, right? It might undo my value and make her stress and undo, like, God is trying to clear out lies. So if you can hear, I know that's not true, but the pattern does. We got to honor what you know and stop honoring the pattern.
Yeah. How does so when that comes up or when the fear comes in when I see my bank account getting smaller or when I know it's the pattern, then what? Do I
Well,
like
first of all, we undo the value, the belief that your worth is in the bank account,
right,
right?
right.
Like that.
I would like to undo that.
Yeah. And you already said your husband is fine with you staying home. Is that right?
Yes.
So would he like that? Like, would he,
Um,
just curious if he'd prefer that?
um, it does it he wants me to do what I want to do.
Okay.
Like he
Beautiful.
would support me with either.
He sounds awesome.
He was with me in Salt Lake. We were the couple that stood up that
Oh,
uh
yeah, yeah. I remember
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're awesome. Yes. I remember you. You're so great. Yes, that was beautiful. I remember you now. Yeah, he's great. From what
He's
I
great.
know, he's great. So just so you know, he sees you as valuable no matter what you do. So why don't you practice receiving right now? Why don't you practice receiving? You have a pressure that you have self-put on. It sounds to me
Mhm.
like, unless I don't have the information right, he's not putting that pressure on you, right?
Not at all.
You're just deciding to keep it going. So we
Yes.
have your intuition knows that the pattern that says you have to do something is not true. That doing only is valuable in that you can see that you're making money working, right? We already see
Right.
that's not true,
Right.
right? I love the universe because it's clearing out these patterns. So you can go to work and create fake value that is better than the inner work that you would like to do. And life will go, just so you know, we're going to still make things not work because you're not working in harmony with God. You're working in harmony with 3D lies that God's trying to clear out.
So what's here now when all of those lies come up? Is that what I say? Because the fear just and then when the fear comes in, I just find myself looking for a job or, so I almost go unconscious. Like,
Yeah. Let's let the fear come in and not do something because I want you to see what you're saying. Every time feelings come up, I do.
mhm.
So they weirdly keep coming up because they're stifled with every next step and every action. So they're never heard. And by the way, I'm just going to check on this. Would you like you to be, and would your husband like you, and would your kids like you to keep patterns buried more and more while you work and bring up more feelings that are buried and then work even though it's not your deepest truth necessarily to work to do to bury that and everyone can lose mom and the wife and everything while you bury yourself and your feelings, which your feelings are so valuable. I want you, everyone hear this. Your feelings being felt are the most valuable, even financially, than your doer. Because I have a lot of clients right now that are calling me and going, I am working 50, 60, 70 hours a week and I'm still not making money. And then all the money goes to health issues and addictions. And I'm like, right. Because it turns out buried energy that's still there, buried under a doer, is absolutely suffering and the doer is just bearing it. And so they're making a little bit of money, exhausted, hating themselves, depressed, totally on the verge of not even living in some cases. And then the money goes to it's burnt on all the addictions because they're out of connection with their soul.
So no, they don't want that mom.
Right. They don't want that mom. Do they want that mom having to go through whatever addictive energy and get on pills and whatever and be unhappy? Just so you know, your happiness and your feelings are worth more than all the money in the world. And weirdly, it will attract more in ways you do not see from the small doer that you created to prevent trauma in your childhood,
Definitely. I think I'm
right?
afraid, like, there's comfort in feeling small and scared.
Yes. There's comfort. What an honest sentence. There's comfort in feeling small and scared. And
Yeah.
yeah, and she's dying because there's also all this pain and problems and everything like that. So the universe is taking you to something magical. Isn't
And
this
I deserve that. I deserve that. Like, I deserve that.
so life doesn't just force you into a thing while you keep all the same patterns. I want you to know it will take the courage of you to decide to change in your hierarchy. So the hierarchy before this call started was your doer is more important than your feelings.
Mhm.
What I want to create, which will take practice because you're still going to have the habit kick in and say, what do I do over and over and over, is feelings over doing.
Okay.
We don't do anything from pain, right? A feeling's coming up. What do I do? Kicks in. I want to end that. So it's going to take courage for you to not grab a doing to bury the feeling. It's going to take courage and patience and practice that, I remember you working with Kim and you and your husband talking to each other. And I remember feeling you guys were beautiful space holders for each other, right? So is your husband emotionally available if you tell him things that you're feeling?
Yes.
Yes. Does he like it more when you tell him things that you're feeling?
Yes,
Yes.
definitely.
Oh, so it'll up your frequency in the relationship too.
Yeah. I have to get over my fear of being vulnerable to him.
I have to get, well, okay. Okay. What if we undo, I have to get over my fear? Because I hear a doing action that says win that. And I'm like, when you just start being vulnerable to him, the getting over it will die. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
If you open to him and say, I'm scared, I feel lost. I'm I feel like I'm not enough, which isn't true at all. You're so magical. I feel like I'm alone, right? And you look at him and say that, and you feel, and maybe you cry. That is power.
Yeah. And I love doing that. Um, and then I resist when he tries to correct those because I don't want him to correct me. I just want him to listen. Like you are enough, you are, So and he
So
does,
does
yeah.
he listen or does he correct you?
He he does a little bit of both. He's
Okay.
quick to correct because he doesn't want to see me in pain, or he tries to tell me that I'm not worthless or.
Okay. So that's beautiful. I hear the sentiment and the energy. I want you to know we're not ever aiming to be in pain, but I would love to offer releasing the pain that's stuck in here.
Yeah.
Right? So if we so he might not know that if stopping you from feeling something could be like stopping you from releasing something.
Mhm.
So one of the things you could say to him is, would you just hold space and listen and let me just say things that I feel for a while
Yeah.
and hear
I've
me?
done that. He's done that before. That if I
Beautiful.
preface that, yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. And so then what you're doing is actually creating the actual dynamics of a good polarity-based loving relationship. What you've had is false polarity, where you kick in a false doing masculine, right? Which causes you to get in charge in certain ways and might
Mhm.
make him, I don't know him or the dynamic at all, but in some cases, what that can do is put him in a situation where you're mom.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? And that's a false
Yeah.
polarity relationship that I think there many people are in right now. And they
Yeah.
often accidentally keep the false selves together through that. but I just want you to imagine that you and him could move into a new level of power with you at least releasing these feelings and saying what you feel without any without any solution, without any, what if I do this about it? And let him hear and just let yourself not know what to do and have a few days of lostness.
Yeah, and trying to let go of the controller because for whatever reason, if I feel like I'm not in control, that's very dangerous.
Yeah, the controller's dying just through your feeling. In fact, you're almost helping us understand where a controller comes from. A controlling energy is a doing that's created to prevent a feeling from coming up. So, right? So, for instance,
Mhm.
if I feel insecure, I can control someone else into not leaving me or putting me down or whatever, right? If I feel, right? So, a lot of people have a doer that is out of don't feel pain, and so it wants to control the situation. But your frequency is too high for your controller to exist. And the suffering is that you're now in a letting go world of the future. Your body is, your soul is, while the patterns of the past of a control energy are trying to die, but you're still acting from that energy,
Definitely.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, because if I let go of control, then everything goes to shit, right? That's the future,
Yeah.
yeah. You
But
know,
it doesn't, everything frees itself.
right,
Yeah, it might be a crappy couple weeks of letting lies leave. I mean, if you are attached to all the clutter in a totally cluttered hoarder house, it's going to be a couple weeks of hell getting rid of certain things that you were attached to, but it still has to come out.
yeah, and I project so much of that fear. Like, if I don't keep the house clean, my husband's gonna be pissed off and say, "Why do you even do all day?" Like, and he wouldn't. So it's all those things. I just panic and I don't know.
Well, what if we see what you create once that pain's gone?
Okay.
In other words, I want you to know your mind is coming up with all worst case scenarios as a
Always.
life-saving protective mechanism, right? So it's not seeing, there's a scene in Back to the Future 3 where every time Marty suggests something, Doc Brown says, "You're not thinking third dimensionally," which actually means for us fifth dimensionally, right?
Right.
In other words, Michael J. Fox thinks that if the train pushes the car, it's going to fall off the cliff in the 1800s. And he goes, no, it'll go fast enough that it'll suddenly be 1985 and the tracks will be completed, right? In other words, you're thinking from your lack place, and I don't even want you to,
Right.
right? Like it's looking at negative scenarios from the low frequency.
Right. The
Do you
track
get
will be built. Yeah.
the track will be built. And so, in other words, you will have guided. One of the things that's so cool about the doer in the fifth density is it very rarely talks in long term. It's much more about the journey than the destination. So it's like, what if you just let go of this one thing right now or do that dish? It doesn't give you the long-term plan. By the way, the reason we always need these long-term plans is because we've normalized living in a constant state of fear and survival. So we need to have all of these long-term goals out of so things don't go to shit. And that's not the truth. Like
Right.
we want to undo the fear of survival and the fear of not surviving and
And learning how to hear those next steps. That's I have a hard time discerning ego from guidance, like, or fear from guidance,
well,
you
what if
know?
we also heard not from next steps, but from everything's okay? What if you just relaxed and everything's okay? I want you to really picture that is a default setting you can go to. That a lot of people don't want to do that. They can find something wrong politically in their situation, what someone will do. But as you let go of things that actually keep that you're in danger, you will go to a frequency of that everything's okay, because that's the actual truth. But the ego hates that. The ego works off of things aren't,
Right.
right? So I want to give you proof that everything's okay. Can you notice that right now you're sitting in a room totally safe? You're talking to
Yes.
someone here and you have an audience that cares about you and is absolutely learning from this. You're not in any danger.
Yes.
That's been the case almost every moment of your life, right?
Yes.
Right? But the ego doesn't like that. So it
Mhm.
looks for danger when it's safe,
Yes.
right?
Definitely. Mhm.
And that is not a life you're here to live anymore because it's not even true.
Yeah.
What's here right now? Can you receive? This is about receiving for you. Your doer is here to prevent your receiver. Did you catch that? Here's
Mhm.
what you could receive. You are safe. You're sitting in a room that is safe. There's nothing dangerous there. You can receive that your husband is fine with you working or not. You can receive that you now can feel instead of doing first. You can receive that you're loved, which will kill some more of the ego. You can receive that you're safe. I want you to have the courage to receive. That's going to kill off a lot of the doer that doesn't receive that it's safe. Could you say out loud, I am safe?
That's hard to say. Why is that hard to say? I am safe. I am safe.
Yeah, now say it again.
I am safe.
Now say it again.
I am safe.
Now say it again.
I am safe.
Yeah, I want you to notice, even if it's hard to say, let's still say it. Because it's only hard to the pattern. And if you decide to honor that it's hard to say, then the pattern has more power. If you honor the truth by just, even if it feels terrible to say, because isn't that weird that it feels terrible to say you're safe?
Right? Just words. I know.
Yeah. How about I am loved?
I am loved.
Receive that. Receive that I am loved. You are. You have a husband here that I'm just going to tell you, as a guy, there is nothing more exciting than watching your woman light up. That is the point of living for many men. They just want to make their woman happy, right? They
Yeah.
want to create a space for their woman to be happy. Are you tearing up? Amber's tearing up. There's nothing more amazing than that. So you're giving him the greatest gift by receiving your loved, because that's the truth with him, right?
Yes.
Right?
Mhm.
So receive that. And for anyone watching, even if you're not in a relationship, receive that you're loved. You'll create space for something amazing. It's true you're loved. We can actually prove that you're safe. There hasn't been one gunman in the room since we started this call, but your mind is looking for it.
Mhm.
Your mind is dying to find evidence that you're not safe. It is a lie, and it is overlooking how safe and loved and abundant and free you are. It's dying to disprove it because it has no job if there's no emergency. So let's say it again, even if it feels like shit to say for a second. It feels better in the long run to receive that it's actually true that you're safe. So if it's true that you're safe, it's also true that you're loved. If it's true that you're loved, it's also true you're abundant, right?
I'm safe. I
Yeah,
am safe.
yeah. I can see patterns leaving you right now.
I am safe.
Hell yeah. That's true,
That's true.
right?
I am always safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, if your house is on fire, you're not going to sit there and say, I'm safe and let it burn you. Like
Right.
you're, you still have a save your life mechanism and an actual emergency, but we sure don't need it 24/7,
Right. We
right?
need it because, I'm going to run out of money in sometime in the near future. And so
I
yeah.
wonder if you will from a safe frequency. We see
Right.
that I'm in danger has a level of keeping some money going, yet it's still going, it doesn't work, right? So it's the ego doesn't like you to be fully abundant because then it has no job, but it also is here to keep you from dying. So the ego likes to keep your tank right above E so it doesn't run out of gas. But if it's a full tank and everything's fine, then your ego has no job. So its job is to keep your money just above survival, right? And
Yeah.
whatever that looks like. Some people's egos just above survival is $1 million in debt. Some people's above survival, but to just be free and abundant and happy and safe, let's see what that does financially in 2 years.
Yeah.
It won't be
Yeah.
something you can see from here though. But what's
And I
that?
think that's why that was part of my question is if I sabotaged my income to not let it, because it was a really good income that I left. So
Mhm.
that was my question. When I think about going back, I can't, like, I don't want to. There's nothing in my soul that wants to do what I was doing. But I also was making a lot of money. That's why I was wondering if, the line that the ego keeps you between, was I too much? That was,
Oh, that's interesting.
no,
Well, was it a 10? Was the job a soul-filling love of
no.
your lifetime? Okay,
I
so
mean, it
then
used to be, but no.
Then what if we don't phrase it sabotaging your income, but phrase it, I move to a much higher income in vibration. I'll see what it looks like later.
I like that. A higher
Right.
income and vibration, because that's when I left that job, that was definitely a raise the vibration,
Yeah,
definitely.
you are a good example in the past of when we sacrifice our soul for money. And life goes, don't do that.
Mhm.
Right? Life goes, for some people that might work, but for people like you who are doing the inner work, you have the curse slash blessing of knowing too much, and you will suffer more because the frequency that your soul wants to live in is much different from where your patterns are living in. So that gap is where all the suffering is. So you didn't sabotage your income. You let go of an old story of a doer to find the truth of what you are, which I bet you anything will be worth more and spends way less.
I agree. And I think I got panicked because it's been 3 years. I know that's in the past, and that's why I was so worried about, I haven't felt um, inspirations, but because my house is still full of shit. So,
Yes, yes. It hasn't been you let go and it's been 3 years. It's been 3 years of you keeping the same patterns going,
yes, yes,
right?
there you go.
So in one level, you left the job, but you never left the you that kept the job,
Yes.
right? So it's like you had the job still just without the job. In other words, you
Without
had
the paycheck. Yeah.
the same
Yeah.
person, right?
Hmm.
So you dislodged from it, but still kept the same doer. And this call, I would love to have it be the beginning of your new life. I would love for you to literally decide every time you feel off to ask what's here and feel and take a good half an hour of feeling. You might not see the measurable money you're making right then. That's fine. I want you to move based more on faith than mental evidence and move more based on your soul because God right now wants to clear out your cluttered house. And that you cannot, do not make the mistake of creating a doing that still has the cluttered house. Right now, take some time. Your husband even is creating a safe place for you to do that. There's nothing more valuable than you clearing out the clutter. You're going to be shocked at how much everyone in the house clears out their clutter, how much the vibration collectively goes up, how many solutions from a different frequency will happen that you do not understand from here.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
That's why I was always, like, jealous of you when you say, "Oh, it just sounds so easy. You just get all these inspirations." And I'm sitting here going, "Well, I feel like shit."
Well,
So,
here's the only difference between me and you is every time I feel like shit, Amber can tell you, we stop, we play sad music, I figure out how to be here. And then Amber puts her hand on my heart, or vice versa, and I cry for a long time and then learn something like light coming in through clouds that I had no idea was there. I will not let myself say, what do I do when I feel sad or stuck or scared?
and I can feel like that's so close to being torn wide open. I've always felt that, like, so close. Yeah, right on the edge.
Yeah, it's happening now. I mean, I already want to point out something that usually the ego overlooks, but how much progress you've had in the last half an hour. Like your openness to what I'm saying wasn't even here at the same level when you started. When you started crying, you're now opening and see a possibility and something new here. But the level of your question was the doer only talking, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So right now, I want to offer one thing that is a tangible change for you is when you feel off, I want you to catch if you say, "What do I do?" But don't do anything, don't follow it, and get present for what's here. So we don't say, "What do I do?" when we're hurting. We say, "What's here?"
Okay. So even like any panic or fear or anything, just what's here. Just stop.
What I want to offer you is I believe that what you are in the now is more powerful than anything. So the panic gets stuck when a doer kicks in. Right? And that's what makes it panic. It's like, I feel off. You have a what do I do? You ignore it. So it needs to come out. So it will throw you off. It'll make you exhausted. It'll make you sick. You can manifest your own injury. It'll throw all kinds of stuff off, or it'll become a panic attack. It's like, you haven't listened to me for years. So I'm going to go insane. I'm going to give you anxiety and make you dizzy and make you freak out and wonder if your heart's beating weird or something. And it's like energy that is trapped in your body. And it is time for it to not become a panic attack. But I want to first of all offer you a practice of, less doing things and even less things that support the doer, like the phone, like a lot of the screen, the phone, different things, and create space. If you start to listen to silence for an hour a day, even if your eyes are open and you're in nature, you're going to hear what's here. And it might start out with a ton of what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? But just watch that, but don't answer it. And don't follow a doer that shows up out of pain. I promise you, you go a week or so of that, you will start to flip that the practice is feeling first, right?
Okay. So even when I sit there, what's here, feeling, and then when I feel better, I still don't do anything, right?
Enjoy the only doing I want to offer you to follow, and you will discover a lot of highest and callings will happen, is if it comes in a doing from a calling, right? Now, I
Yeah,
obviously understand the minimal things that, like, I always don't hear this and think, don't pay the bill,
right.
right? I always want to make sure I caveat that because that comment will always come up. What about what if so don't do
Right.
anything or just let the bills? No, no, we have some tangible do, but we don't do from a charge, right?
I
And
circumvent my I circumvent that by going, well, that must be an inspiration. So you better fill out this job application. 'Cause that's what I do. Well, how do you know that wasn't a sign that you clicked on this and now you need a job? But I think that's just another way of pushing down the fear, I
I would
think.
love for 90% of your signs to be internal callings,
Yeah. I
right?
guess I don't know that I've ever felt one of those, so maybe
I
that's
believe
why I'm nervous about.
if you had a cluttered house your whole life, you'd never get to feel a new couch,
Right.
right? So you have not had a chance to feel callings because you have identified as a doer out of emergency situations. What's her biggest, deepest fear and based on childhood? If I don't know what to do, I will be what again? Or identified as what? Or what will happen? What's her biggest fear? If I don't know what to do, or if I do it wrong, I will be
I think it's shamed or abandoned.
beautiful. So what's interesting is to not be shamed, you self-shame yourself. If I
Yes.
preemptively shame myself, then others won't shame me, or at least it won't feel bad if they do because I already got them, beat them to it.
Yeah. I think it was always Michelle always can handle it. Michelle knows what she's doing. Michelle doesn't screw up.
Yeah. Wow. There is no room for play or polarity or even help from God or your husband or anything because your life has been up until tonight that you do it all alone. No one has room to take care of you, give to you, offer you, hold you, support you. You're walking by bellhops carrying your own suitcases
Yeah.
constantly, right? That
I
is
don't need
not
it. I'm good. Right. Yeah. That's
right. And let's say
then
this
I'm busy.
sentence,
If I keep busy, because yeah.
and let's say this sentence because all of us have that. And empaths, all of us have this truth, but empaths have a belief they do it all alone, right? Let's say this sentence. I need help.
Yeah. I do need help. I
Yeah.
just don't want to take it. I need help. I need help.
Right. And so your new courage is to receive help. Every once in a while, Amber will say to me, I feel off and I don't know what to do. And I'll say to her, okay, just say this. I feel lost. Would you help me? Because when she says, I don't know what to do, I hear a doer, right?
Hmm.
She's sharing that. She says we're good. But like, but I don't know what to do immediately kicks in that she's supposed to do it herself. So she's letting me know she needs help, but also she's got it herself. So if she just says, I'm lost, would you help me? She invites me in. But I know what happened in your childhood when you let someone in, they hurt you.
That could be. Yeah.
So the belief is don't let anyone in or you'll get hurt.
Yeah. I think, I mean, there's a fear of not letting anyone in. I don't know if it's hurt or something, but yeah, there's something
Yeah.
definitely there.
So now I want to point out, unless that I don't mean this with people that are not safe, but now it's the opposite. Not letting my husband in, not letting God in, not letting people who are truly wonderful space holders, not letting nature in, not letting the now in is hurting you.
Yeah. Yes. Because there's fear in not having it together for some reason.
Yes. But that's not even the truth. We don't have it together. None of us do.
Right. Right.
I don't have it together. I bet the
That feels
towels
so much
are on the
better.
floor right now that I took a bath with. And it's fine that I took a bath. But the towels are on the floor probably. I think I hung them. But my point is I don't have it together.
Yeah. I wonder why that's so hard for me to
No, 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 no,
show
no. No,
people.
no, no. Don't ask
Okay.
that.
Don't ask that.
Do you see that? That actually, I want you to notice the dead end to that question.
Okay.
Why is that so hard for me? What's the best answer we can get?
Something shitty because you're stupid, because you're not good enough, because you're
Right.
whatever. Yeah.
Right. I want you to catch dead end questions. Everyone watch for dead end questions.
That's most why questions.
Yeah. So what's a different question?
Um, how can I be open to letting other people in?
That's good. You know the Michael Beckwith question I love,
Yeah.
right?
What's trying to emerge?
Yeah, what's trying to emerge is a great one.
Yeah.
How about what's here?
Yeah. What's here?
And let's answer a couple of those. I want you to check that out. You had asked, why do I never get it? Or why do I keep doing that? Something like that. Let's take, okay, with everything we've discussed right now, why don't you give me an answer to what's trying to emerge? Notice there's no what do I do? There's not
Hmm.
even an I in that question.
Right.
What's trying to emerge?
um, a freer, calmer, happier self.
Yeah. Yes. What else? I'm going to write these down. So good.
Um, a relaxed mom.
Ooh. What are your kids? So what are like ages and boy
There's five of them, and they go
oh,
from 23 to 12.
23 to 12. Okay. Both girls and boys?
Four boys and one girl in the middle.
Okay. So wouldn't it be first of all, just for all of them, but for the girl to see a relaxed mom versus a have to do mom?
Yeah, and she's a have to do girl.
Yes. And how cool would it be for the boys to see, hey, here's some energy. Also, we can help too and take care of,
Hmm.
right? Softness, a heart,
Yeah.
compassion, patience, being,
Yes.
listening. Oh my God. Maybe,
Patience. Oh,
yeah,
patience.
patience.
That's what's trying to emerge.
Patience is trying to emerge. Boy, is that better than why do I always not get this?
Yeah.
Right? What else?
Yes. Um, what else is trying to emerge? Um, a heart that's open to connection with my spouse, real, true connection.
Oh, I love it. Open-hearted connection with spouse. Boy, are a lot of things trying to emerge. This is so good. What else? I love it.
um, Trust is trying to emerge.
Woo! Check out David
Trust in
Rico.
the universe.
David Rico has a book called Dare to Trust. Amber and I are starting it right now.
Okay.
Since
I
you said
like David
trust,
Rico.
I do too. He's great. He was on AEP.
Yes, I did see that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
we should call him and see if we can have him back. Trust, beautiful. What else is trying to emerge?
Freedom
Freedom is trying to emerge.
and just serenity, like just peace that everything is as it is, as it should be. I think that's what I've been desperate to seek, but it's just trying to emerge.
Yeah,
Yeah. And with that will come joy, right? That
yeah.
underlying feeling of no matter what the turbulence is on the surface, there's that just that joy.
Joy is trying to emerge. I have a thought. If all that stuff comes out, if the cluttered stuff comes out, I would imagine health would be trying to emerge. I mean, there might be a future you that's much energetically lighter and more joyful and not bringing as much stress and
Yes.
stuff that can bring sickness in certain ways. And, you know, there might be a more vibrant, joyful, playful, adventurous, athletic you.
Yes, so much freedom. Like, and I've wondered, I've had like, I don't know, 4 surgeries and I can't figure out what's wrong with my joints. And I just think it's like all the shit in my house.
Yeah, it's
But
all the shit in your house. I'm sure is not helping,
yeah.
right? This is amazing. What else is trying to, so health?
um, the ability to receive abundance is trying to emerge, that it's okay to have abundance in all aspects.
Yeah, maybe abundance isn't only in the measurable, immediate paycheck, but it's in your vibration, it's in your soul, it's in your happiness. And maybe accidentally that'll bring a different paycheck in ways you don't understand right now. And maybe we don't spend it as much on nothing stuff, right?
Right. Well, 5 kids eat a lot, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but maybe like what would you in a higher vibration present like might change the quality of the food, might change,
Hmm.
I don't know. There's all kinds of stuff that I know that I can't see from here, but I know it's magic.
Magic is trying to emerge then. And I
Chick.
like that word because you don't know what's going to happen then. It's just whatever comes out of the box, I guess.
How about, I have a thought. How about boundaries? Meaning boundaries from things that don't call to you, boundaries from doing, right? Can you bring up like boundaries from any job that pays well, meanwhile not feeling my heart?
Hmm.
Saying no more? Is there a you that needs to say more, no more and say
There's a
yes more?
there's a me that has to say no to me. The busy. I have such a busy pattern. I just make up shit to do and then do it. I mean, it's stuff that has to get done, but not necessarily the way I do
Yes.
it.
What if we don't call that me? I want to say it needs to say no more to the pattern.
No more to the pattern of the doer and the busy.
Yes. What does it need to say yes more to, aside from all these other great things?
Um, it needs to say yes to being okay with spending money on things that bring joy, or to not hold on so tightly to my resources for fear that they're going to disappear. So saying yes to just more fun, saying yes to more play,
Mm,
saying yes to just, yeah,
wow.
doing things that my kids want to do, even if it means spending money, to
Okay.
say yes to fun, more fun.
This is so good. This is so good. Now, we don't know what'll happen financially later. Hell, maybe your
Right.
heart
And we
will.
never know whether I have a job or not. We never know. So I
That's
don't know why I get so stuck.
that is such a great point. It's weird how the ego goes, well, I got it locked forever. It's like, no, you don't. You're wrong too. But what if, like, there's examples of ways I can't see it. What if with the free time you open your heart up and you just start listening and it has ideas, whether it's things to invest in, ideas of creation? What if you and your flow suddenly becomes something you offer other people? What if you and your heart causes your husband to double his income in ways we don't see? You get what I'm saying? Like, there's so many things. What if now that we're secure, we don't spend as much because we're not feeling, we pay off the mortgage? You get what I'm saying? Like,
Hmm.
there's so many things that are trying to happen.
Yeah. And just like everything else, it's going to be things that you didn't even think of.
Yes,
Like when we try to keep our kids safe, they get hurt with something we never even thought of. So you can't,
right.
and the good stuff is like that as well. Like, you know,
And I feel like if you move in vibration with the fact that you are safe, everyone gets hurt a little bit less. Like, there's less being in your head, there's less panic, there's less, you know what I'm saying?
oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
My head is a busy place.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it was.
It was.
If we take some time and you don't clear out your body the same way you clear out the house. In other words, with the house, you have to actually take action and take everything outside and take it to the dump. With your heart, you become present and listening will alchemize what the lies are. It'll need you to listen deeper and know that your doer is just sitting on top of it. So we hear the doer kick in, but we don't follow it and listen. Listen, listen. It'll take you to a wound. I feel sad. I feel whatever. Then it might be like, because when I was 8, my mom said, and then like cry out. Right. And you listen deeper and it gives you another one. Sometimes I'll just go, I need you to just be present all day and you're going to hear something you didn't plan on hearing. That is that in so in 3D, which you're not in the world of 3D anymore, you do actions to make things happen. In 5D, you listen to the lies and declutter your house, and then God picks you up and you don't do anything anymore. Things get done through you. That's a calling.
So when I say what's here, what are some of the, so it's because I can see myself getting into a pattern of like I did at the very beginning. So am I just like what am I feeling? That's it. Just feeling.
It could
That's
be,
it.
well, what's here? So there could be ideas, there could be fears. You could do it in physical, like sensations. There's air
Hmm.
touching my neck, there's a space
Okay.
around me, there's a chair that I'm sitting on. You just practice that, literally only what's here. Now, if you come up with things could go wrong, you say thoughts. You don't go to where it went in the future. You say
Oh,
fear,
I see. Yeah.
right?
Thoughts are here. Okay. Yeah.
Thoughts are here, fear is here, darkness is here, right? But
Hmm.
notice the doer implies that negative things that are coming up are bad,
Hmm.
right? But if you're just here, oh, fear is here, gunk is here, lostness is here, doubt is here. Do you notice it has to pass though if it's just seen, right? So the way we clean out the clutter of the house inside is we just keep hearing lies by listening without putting a doer on top of them.
Yeah. Even when nothing's here. Like sometimes I feel something coming up and I sit to try to allow, and then it immediately goes away. Like, nope, sorry, not today.
Well, you
Like,
also qualify nothing as nothing. In fact, space is here.
yeah.
Presence is here, an
I guess
opening.
I can feel something start to come up, and then when I try to allow that, I get present, it immediately disappears. And in my mind, I think, well, you guess you're not going to free yourself of that, or it's hiding, like the little girl under the bed that you used to talk about in your calls. Like I don't go chase her under the flashlight, but she hides.
Well, did you hear a doer kicked in and said you're not going to get it out versus check this out.
Yes.
There's energy that went up and now there's energy that's down. The end.
Hmm.
Oh, now the energy's up again.
Uh,
Right? It's funny how it makes a lifelong conclusion. You'll never
right.
get it up. So I would
Yeah.
say shame is here.
Hmm.
You'll never get it up like that is shame. I would offer you're going to be saying for a few weeks, shame is here,
Yeah.
right? I could tell there's a lot of shame.
Yes. Yes.
So let's look at the levels. There's what you are, which is only the now. Then there's an inner child that's usually buried. Then there's shame on top of the inner child, which means the inner child shouldn't be seen. And then there's a doer on top of that. And the doer is falsely what you identify yourself as, but it's not you. So the
Hmm.
doer is here to bury the shame versus seeing the shame, which is on top of the inner child. And when I said, what's here? And you started hearing the feelings, you said, I feel alone. It cried. It cried out the shame and it cried out the doer. The doer is still going to linger around. There's still going to be more shame. We can't get a whole giant house in an hour, but you're going to practice hearing the shame. And you do not shame when you see shame. You just go, there is shame here,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Are you excited?
I'm excited. I, I am excited. And then there's a part of me that's like, well, I need to make a checklist of how to go through all of these
Yeah,
release
I
things. And
already knew you were going to say that, but let's say this. Let's say this. I'm allowed to feel excited.
I am allowed to feel excited.
I'm allowed to not know what it looks like.
I'm allowed to not know what it looks like.
I'm allowed to not plan everything.
I am allowed to not plan everything.
I'm allowed to fall apart
I'm allowed to fall apart.
because my husband can catch me
My husband can catch me,
and God can catch me
and God can catch me,
and my kids can catch me.
and my kids can catch me.
Did your kids give birth to you or did you give birth to them?
I gave birth to them.
Okay, well, maybe they can help out now. Like maybe you can receive a little bit because I know, first of all, you're very wonderful and lovable. So I know that your family just loves you.
Hmm.
And man, there'd be nothing, as someone who had a mom that did shut her heart off, right? There's nothing more that I would have loved than just seeing my mom happy. In fact, I'm emotional saying it. One of my favorite moments of my life was one of the last times, maybe the last time I ever saw my mom when I took her to New York and Washington, D.C., and I watched her receive me taking care of her. I watched her receive joy, and I watched her start to literally change how she walked. The first few days, she was bent over and feeling, her shame. And then I watched her start to stand more upright and be happier and excited about doing things she had never done. She hadn't been to New York. She hadn't seen the White House and the Pentagon and all that stuff. And I watched her just like feel joy. And I'm saying, as a son of a mother, there is nothing more amazing, even to your sons, than seeing you happy more than being in your head having to do your whole life. And the greatest gift you can give them is to find the courage to open your heart to receive help and love. We all need each other, right? And receive that you are loved and
Yeah.
and open your heart to being lost for a minute and not knowing what it looks like.
I overheard my youngest tell my second youngest, I played Yahtzee with him, made him play Yahtzee with me because I wouldn't turn on the computer for him. And he said to my son, he's like, it doesn't really matter what mom does with you. She just wants to spend time with you. So they were willing to play Yahtzee with me. So that was kind of cute.
Yeah,
But
that's awesome. Yes. Yes. And wait till you're present and create a space where it's even safer for them to come spend time with you too.
Mhm.
You'll be shocked at how much less doing everyone does from a fear place. You're going to undo the charge in the whole house. You're the pin that we're pulling for the whole thing, right? Receive for a second. Receive that.
Mhm.
Just for, I'll let you feel that for a second. And just for a couple minutes, would you give me a Calego of your life? I want you to picture that, and it's going to be a different kind of Calego. You've done linear Calegos, but I want you to picture this call we did right now was a year ago. For anyone new on the Absolutely Everything Pass, Calego is where you speak your future as if it's past tense. So I want you to picture it's been a year. We want to make sure it's been a year so that we have time that we don't know what it looks like, but I want you to be wide open without knowing, and it doesn't have to be even good or right or perfect. It can do it wrong. Tell me what happened in the last year since this Calego that we're doing.
So, a year ago, I had the honor of being with Kyle on a hot seat, and I was really afraid at first because it was just one more thing that I was going to do, like every book I've ever read. And then I put it away and do it for a couple days and then forget about it. But this time, for whatever reason, he opened me up where the only homework was just to stop the doer and to just see what's here. And so I did that religiously for the first 2 weeks, where every time I even had an inkling of fear, I just sat and allowed and asked what is trying to emerge and what is here. And I really screwed it up in the beginning, and I went back to ego and I went back to fear, and I'd catch myself filling out a job application and then going back to what is here. But I slowly started to feel myself soften, and I
Hmm.
slowly started to trust in God and in my family. And I slowly started to notice just tiny little whispers in my life that weren't shouts, they weren't big things. As I freed myself from the heavy energy that has been stuck in my body for my entire life, and I was so afraid to let go of, as I started to clear that just by being asking what's here, I started hearing whispers of just try this, do this, sit here. And I just slowly started to see my whole body and life and house and family just soften and be open. The fear kind of left, and I wasn't worried about whether I was working. I wasn't worried about how much money we had in the bank or if I could give my kids a cool Christmas, or everything just started to kind of unfold. And I started to just meet people that I never thought I would meet. And I would start to get involved in different things that I really enjoyed. And it wasn't just to be seen, it wasn't just to prove how much I could handle things, or I how much I can do and how I always have it all together. It was real true connection and intimacy with beautiful, lovely friends and people that I never would have ever thought I would get in touch with. And so my life just started to kind of unfold in all different ways. And I didn't even have to worry about money. My relationship with my kids is just so much better, where I don't have to fight to do things with them. I'm able to really connect with my husband and to be vulnerable. And I just am joyful. I've been so joyful this past year. And here I am a year later. I don't even know how much money I have. It's too much. And I just am able to do all the fun things. I mean, I haven't even looked at my bank account. It's like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 digit. I don't know. And, but I don't even care about that because it's just, I just am living this full, free life. Like it's great.
That was masterful. That was so good. And I want you to know you cannot Calego things that are not possible. In other words, when you Calego it, that's because it's you hire you speaking. That's why it came through so perfectly. You got out of the way and let it talk. It's David Hawkins who says it's because you're seeking enlightenment that it's your destiny. It's the same here. You cannot Calego like that unless it's a fact that it's completely a choice. And you will not be able to come back from this call because if you go off and start doing, it'll just suffer even quicker because your awareness is too high. That was incredible. This hot seat is insane.
Thank you
It's
so
so,
much.
Michelle. Yeah. Feel
I
for a
think it's at
second.
the perfect time. Like, And when you announced it on Wednesday, I remember saying, I'm going to get on that one because I really need this course correction. And here I am.
Yeah,
Like,
it was time. It's
it
just
was
your time.
time.
And you're
Yeah.
so magical and you're so awesome. And your family is so lucky that you're the mom. And I'm so excited. Would you receive for a second? Are you open to receiving?
No, but I will do it anyway because I need to be open to receive.
It's time to practice receiving, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, we have just unfrozen the chat. I would love for you to share with Michele something amazing about her or something you learned because of this hot seat and what you're going to change because of it. This was a miraculous hot seat. Please share in there, and I want you to receive and hear what they're saying and receive it. Just you reading them out loud as you receiving yourself, right? How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling wonderful. And I'm feeling wonderful in a way that is hopeful, not just, oh, this is just a retreat high and, tomorrow it's going to be bad. Like, I don't feel that so much anymore. I really feel like you've given me just little tiny things to do. So I feel really just, there's an excitement in my chest, and I'm not even trying to stop it right now. Like, I'm not, yeah,
Yes. Isn't that interesting? The same thing that wants to stop fear is also stopping excitement and joy.
absolutely.
How can you find your highest excitement if you have a habit of stopping it,
Yes. Yep.
right?
hmm
This is really wonderful. Michele, you were wonderful tonight. It
I
changed.
couldn't have
Oh,
done it without you.
yeah, that was incredible. I couldn't have done it without you too. It'd be a really weird hot seat if I was just talking to the air. So we teamed up on it, and your availability, receptivity, openness was intense and present. And I want you to know that is you. In other words, you're not the patterns. You're the one who's willing to do the hot seat. You're the one who is seeking higher. You're the one who's open. You're the one who heard me. If you were for sure the pattern, you wouldn't have let me in, right? But instead, there's something in you that overrode it.
And I think the timing is perfect because I think had it been any time prior, I would have just fought you a lot. I don't, yeah, I can
Yeah.
see that in my, yeah, I was ready.
Well, it's time to receive and let go of the blocking of the new possibilities and new life. We did it.
We did it just like that. All
Just like
right.
it was perfect.